the 3 movies from this year that I've loved. I've watched quite a fair bit of films this year. I guess maybe, I don't know, it's weird. I feel like I hadn't slowed down my intake of new releases this year. I feel like I've been as on it as I typically am, but for whatever reason, just significantly less things this year have like excited me. It's mostly the stuff from older years that has excited me. I would say, looking at the films I've watched this year, my favorite has been Blue Velvet, dude. I absolutely adored Blue Velvet. 3 Colors Blue was really good as well, but just fucking blue movies, apparently. I watched those for the first time this year, and they pretty instantly cemented themselves as favorites. I really liked Ran. Oh, Ran was fantastic as well. Man, that's pretty... Oh, fuck. Blue Velvet or Ran are probably my choice for best film I've discovered this year. But as far as this year's releases, I'll give a shout out to Black Bag. I'll give a shout out to 28 Years Later. They had a lot going for them, in my opinion. They just didn't quite like win me over 100% of the way. My 3 like top picks. Let's get into it. So let's start off with the first film I saw this year that I just, the minute credits rolled, I was like, yeah, I'm a big fan of that. That's Mickey 17.
I'm not you. I'm not gonna live like you. I'm gonna kill you.
Bong Joon-ho's new movie. I was super into this movie. It's messy, it's a bit overstuffed, it has a bit of an unfulfilling ending. There's plenty you could level against it, and I know a lot of people didn't really resonate with it as much as they were hoping to. I think this was, for a lot of people, a bit of a disappointment. And it's weird, it's interesting with Bong Joon-ho. His English language films, they're much more silly, zany, and heightened than his more grounded Korean language films, which admittedly, you know, they have their comedic elements too. Parasite especially is definitely, you know, in some respects quite far-fetched in some of the solutions and like schemes that the family gets up to. Mickey 17, I think, is the most Bong Joon-ho has very explicitly ramped up the craziness. To me, it just screams as Bong Joon-ho viewing the Western world as a bit of a satire, a bit of a comedy, and he's leaning into that viewpoint 1,000,000%. The commentary is extremely on the nose here. It's very on the nose, and it's unashamed. It like doesn't care about the subtle sleights of hand, the sort of like subtext. That's not really what Mickey 17's about. It's just such a playground. The visual language of the film is really interesting. It's like extremely futuristic looking, but it's very grey and miserable and cold. Robert Pattinson, oh my lord, does that man just plunge himself into his characters. He is impossible to look away from in this film. And yeah, I just found it pretty refreshing to see a blockbuster that was just this kooky, whacked out. I was so entertained by it front to back. I think it's a home run. I've seen some stinkers this year too, man. Oh my god, Mountainhead, rubbish. Death of a Unicorn, Opus, really didn't like those. Mickey 17, like in that context, it just really sticks out as like a wonderful amusement park of a film. The second film I'd like to talk about is Sinners.
Rotten hell, Stack.
Yeah, I will. Save your trifling ass room.
One of the biggest, like, everybody stopped and stared. There was like a real moment, which was so lovely. I love it when a film comes along that just everyone's talking about. It's such a big conversation. It's inescapable. As you're watching it, you can really feel that. I definitely got the vibe that I'm watching something that will cause somewhat of a shift, because it's just that engaging of a film, and it's that beautifully helmed, and it's clearly just a massive labor of love. Everything, set design, performances, the tightness of the script, the thematics of the film. That's, I think, where most of the conversation has been. It hasn't really been much of a, is it overrated, is it good, is it bad? It's been more of a, how do you interpret this, how do you interpret that? Which I think is the mark of a really special film. Because yeah, if you have functioning eyes and ears, it's not hard to tell. This is a very brilliantly assembled film by someone who knows filmmaking through and through, who's had experience on big sets, and is hungry to keep chasing the next ambition. And that's exactly what I think Ryan Coogler has demonstrated with Sinners. The biggest thing I do think of when I think of Sinners has got to be its depiction of vampirism as a threat to community or a sense of belonging. The vampires in the film, they have this kind of misguided sense that they are part of this big family. Like, you should join us. You want community? Well, this is a community, even though it's a very soulless community that feeds off of other people, less powerful, less fortunate people. And it's a very interesting allegory, and I think it's a really beautiful way to sort of use vampirism as a genuine, like, eerie threat. Like, the vampires in this film were a bit upsetting. Ludwig Göransson as well, I think, is, mate, he's got to be a shoo-in for awards season. I mean, Christ alive, what a fantastic score. He's just been on a great run, man. I mean, he's fucking crazy to think that he's the same guy who executive produced, like, Because of the Internet. I love it when you see these little progressions happen, man. But yeah, good for him, and he's done an amazing job with Oppenheimer and Tenet and Black Panther films, and Venom. Sinners is fantastic. I think it's one of the most clearly great films. It's kind of hard to poke at it. Like, I think most anyone could stick on Sinners and find themselves being really enraptured by it pretty effortlessly. It's just an extremely engaging and passionate, just kick up the arse of a film. Really, really loved it. My personal favorite film this year goes to Warfare.
Fuck.
This is the film I've pondered over the most, I've thought about the most, and I think it is my personal favorite of the year. I know a lot of people don't like this movie. It's one of those, similar to Civil War, it was a bit of a divisive film, and there's a conversation to be had about war films in general, whether they even should be made. I think in the wake of films like fucking Act of Valor, American Sniper is the one I was trying to think of. Just films that kind of present or frame the American Marines as go Marines, hoorah, yeah, America. Those films I think are the ones that come off a bit misguided. It's just pointless that this even happened because so many innocent people died. And those films kind of neglect that, whereas I don't think Warfare does. The one character in Warfare, there's one person who is depicted that way, as a Marines, fuck yeah, he steps on another Marine who's crying in pain, just to sort of show dominance, and then the rest of the Marines what the hell are you doing? We need you to help us. And they're depicted as a complete idiot. This is the person that in those other movies, in the American Snipers, would be seen as the cool protagonist. That person is in this film very briefly, and that archetype of character, and they're made to look dumb. So I think this film is aware that when it comes to war films, you should leave rattled. You should leave uncomfortable. I didn't enjoy watching that. That wasn't nice. And I think that's really where the focus should be. I love the opening scene as well. It right away kind of misdirects you by sort of giving you a scene that you would get maybe in one of those other sort of pro-America war films where it's the boys hanging out dancing and then that's all you get. It's 10-20 seconds of that, and then it's right into an uncompromising, tactile depiction of what the Marines physically saw and went through. In my opinion, I think that there is something to depicting war on film that I think could reach somebody and reach the right person and make somebody think and question what they see on the news and everything on social media. And in my opinion, Warfare is the perfect example of exactly how a war film should be handled and approached, because it leaves you with an extremely upsetting, uncomfortable feeling, because it's so intimate, it's so okay with not being, or trying to actively not be, entertainment. It's okay with letting you sit with cries and screams and pure agony and pain for 30 plus minutes. These are things that are not exactly nice to sit through. And this film's very aware of that. And it's no, this is what it is. It's very committed to being an authentic depiction. And I think it gets somewhere with that. The only thing I don't like about the film is probably the ending credits. I think that would have been a great opportunity to show the innocent people being affected. Highlight that a bit more than the film did, because the film's very committed to being a representation of the memories of the Marines involved, because these are real Marines, and that's what the credits shows you. It shows you the film crew posing with the real Marines, and it kind of makes me think, right, yeah, the Marines, they made it, they did it, but then again, are the Marines entirely morally infallible as well? And this film, I think, is conscious of that. It does sort of show that in the film as well. There are moments where the house of the people, the family where that this war is affecting, Will Poulter's I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying, but I'm so sorry. You don't deserve this. This is just horrible. It's very clearly aware that what you're seeing is an atrocity. The filmmaking happening to effectively make you in the cinema really buy into the experience of it is exceptional. The sound design especially, tremendous. Really, really tremendous. One of the most tense things I've seen in a while. Even at this film's most quietest most unassuming moments, there is something to be wary of, something to be conscious of. There is not a moment of rest in this film, and that's very authentic to, I think, what these Marines remember. So overall, Warfare is the film that I think has landed the most with me, that has stuck with me the most. And it's actually really reframed in my head what I think a good war film should do. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. Charles Melton, man. Oh my lord. He is the real deal. So that's going to do it for the films I've loved this year. Please do comment below the films you've loved this year. What am I missing? What is like that underground banger that I haven't seen? Sorry Baby hasn't come out here yet. Friendship hasn't come out here yet. Materialist hasn't come out here yet. Bring Her Back hasn't come out here yet. I want to see The End with Tilda Swinton, which I think came out in March, so maybe that might be on this video. That might have made it onto this video had I seen it, but out of what I've seen, it's just those three.